Hi there. Welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise. Tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today's yoga class deals with the toning of the organs in the lower viscera. Those organs that primarily deal with the processing of the food that we eat. Not only ensuring that we receive adequate nourishment and energy for the tasks that we need to perform on a daily basis, but also ensuring that the byproducts of that digestion process are successfully eliminated from the body so that we don't have any toxic residue building up in the body, to make sure that our blood sugar levels stay even, and to make sure that our hormones are also on an even keel. These factors obviously go a long way in determining what kind of a mood we experience on a daily basis. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify where you need to, and feel comfortable to ease your way into child pose at any time should you need to take a time out. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up for today's class, coming into a seated frame. Maybe just tuck into easy sit, sitting with one leg in front of the other. Sit up nice and tall, and I want you to take your hands and in large brushing strokes, I want you to start at your hand, at the fingers, and just brush up towards your chest. You can play on the top side of the arm, you can brush along the underside of the arm. If you need to, and your hand doesn't wrap around, you can brush on the inside and on the outside. Let's do that on the other side as well. Just large brushing strokes, starting from the fingertip line, making your way all the way up towards the shoulders if you were brushing towards your heart. Then once you've given both arms a little bit of TLC, you're going to take the front leg, firmly plant that foot on the floor, and give me big brushing strokes from the toe and the foot line up towards your kidney. So just brushing along the leg line. Large strokes, making sure you're covering the top, the sides, and the underside of the limb. Then I want you to find the KI6 point that is just on the inside of your ankle bone, and you can press with your forefingers or maybe with both thumbs, and I want you to just hold that little pressure point. I want you to hold for maybe 30 seconds. Remember this KI6 point because we are going to be looking for it during the class, and we're going to keep gently stimulating it. This pressure point is think of it as a direct connect to your kidneys, which we want to keep nicely regulated, making sure it keeps flushing toxins from the body. Then let's change legs. Tuck back into easy sit, leading with the other leg in front, and then start your big brushing motions, beginning at the bottom of the leg and sweeping up towards the kidney line, making sure you cover the front, the sides, as well as the underside. Just big sweeping motions, encouraging the lymph to carry everything towards the kidneys and the bowel. Then we're going to find that the KI6 point on the inside of the ankle bone on the other leg, and we're going to gently press and activate for maybe 20 to 30 seconds. Maybe you want to close your eyes, take your focus inward as you gently connect to that pressure point on the body. From here, we're going to tuck back into easy sit. Let's lead with the right leg in front. You're going to sit up nice and tall, bracing your hands, palms down on your knees, just making sure that you are evenly situated on both of your bum bones. And you're going to start tracing a little Kundalini circle clockwise. So towards your right knee, you're going to begin your circle small. and start making it systematically bigger, giving me a nice big inhale as you peel forward. And then as you peel back, I want you to squeeze the diaphragm in towards the midline of the body. And you might want to take that movement into the shoulders, lifting and dropping through the shoulders if you need to. Keep the movement fluid. Keep using your breath. Then come to stillness. Take a big breath in. Drop one hand gently to the floor. Soften through the fingertips, the wrist line, the elbow line, the shoulder line. And just take a gentle overhead arc and stretch, reaching long through your fingertips. Maybe your gaze is down on the mat, or maybe you're electing to gently peek up towards the ceiling. Come back to the center line and try that little drop on side 2. Just softening through the palm, the elbow, the shoulder. You don't need to force that elbow to touch the mat. Just play where your body wants to be. And then maybe just give me a soft little forward fold, maybe fingertips on the mat. Maybe you're able to creep forward and rest on the forearms, or maybe reaching for a block and using it as a prop is more your flow. Find what works. Give me a soft, gentle forward flow. From here, we're going to set up a mermaid line. So as you peel up along the center line, take the right leg, your lead leg, and sweep it behind you, focusing on your left leg. Line up the knee and the ankle in a straight line, and then feed the knee of the back leg into the instep of the front leg. Make sure that you're not hanging all of your weight on one bum bone. So wiggle around, make sure your bum bones are equally weighted. And if you look between the legs, you should have a nice little triangular shape. You're going to give me a same little side stretch on one side, bending one elbow, and just arcing and framing on the opposite side. Reaching long and lengthened through the fingertips overhead. And then take that same stretch on the other side, just gently connecting to the mat and taking that overhead stretch. Peel back up. From here, we're going to set up a high lifted gait. Make your way onto the knees, bending the right leg, extending the left, checking that the big toe and the knee are more or less on the same axis. You're going to drop your fingertips down to the mat. And if your fingertips don't easily reach the mat, you could quite comfortably take a block, play with the dimensions of the block, and find a lean-in position that could possibly work for you. You're going to brace the other hand on your hip. You're going to start with your big toe softly connected to the mat. You're going to float the leg up to about a hip height, and you're going to tap back out. Giving me 10 soft taps. On your grounding side, maybe give me spider fingers. Don't lean aggressively into the hand. Rather push off your fingertips and think of looking for a sense of lightness in the body. You're going to end with the leg at about hip height. You're going to bend the knee, extend, tap. You're going to keep bending, tucking in, and then tapping back out to the mat. Just keeping your toe lines soft and relaxed so that there's no tension at all in the foot. There's no clawing that happens through the foot. You're keeping it soft. You're going to end for me with the leg bent. You're going to brush your hand down the shin, reach for your foot, and then just gently come into a tiger-like stretch, kicking the foot into your hand. At the same time, I want you to give me a little tilt of the pubic bone towards the 12 o'clock position, so that you can really feel that activation on that front quad. Then find your lifted gait line, arc and frame with the top arm, reaching long and lengthened as if you wanted to tap the wall in front of your mat. Keep your belly button softly pulled into center. You're going to use this lifted gait to find a seated gait. Think of sitting down on your right bum bone, slide the right foot out, keeping the left leg long and extended. Just place the sole of the right foot on the inseam of the left leg. Make sure your weight bearing is equal on both bum bones. Take a big breath in and then take a gentle twist towards your extended leg, maybe grabbing hold of the outside of that thigh, sitting up nice and tall, and holding here for a few gentle counts. Using the other hand to just gently prop your frame up nice and high. Make sure your weight bearing is equal on both bum bones and that you're not leaning aggressively off the center line. Keep pulling with your hand in towards the center line. Resist with your legs so that you're getting a nice little bit of torque. Then gently peel back towards the center line. Come back into easy sit, this time leading with the left leg in front of the right. Make sure your bum bones are equally weighted. Place your hands palms down on the knees. And this time begin your little Kundalini circle anti-clockwise. Begin small. Start noticing what you're doing with your breath. And then start working mindfully with your breath. Nice big inhale as you come forward. Exhale as you gently bring it back. You can take the movement into your shoulders if you need to. And find a pace that works for you. I'm setting a moderate pace, but if you need to, speed it up. If you need to, slow it down. Come to stillness along the midline. Take a big breath in. Drop one hand off center. Soften through the palm, the wrist, the elbow, the shoulder. Arc and frame on the other side, maybe looking up to the ceiling. Or maybe you prefer to keep your gaze down on the mat, on that grounding hand. Maybe you'd like to experiment with both and keep it dynamic. Come back to the center line and do that same little side drop on side 2. And don't force the elbow to the ground. Just think of softening that whole limb, almost as if it was melting into the mat. Come back towards the center line. You're going to find your little mermaid frame. Think knee and ankle in a straight line on the front leg, and then feed the knee and the back leg in. Watch that all the weight is not off center. So if you need to wiggle around, make sure your bum bones are equally committed and connected to the mat. We're going to just take a big breath in. And then you're going to find that little drop on either side. Keeping your gaze down on the mat or looking up to the ceiling. Bring it back to center. Let's try that on the other side. Nice big breaths. Breathing into the side of the ribs. From here, you're going to set up your gate line on side 2. Make sure the knee and the ankle are more or less, knee and the big toe, on a nice big line. You're going to ground through your stabilizing hand. Opposite hand maybe gently resting on your hip bone. Big toe connected to the mat. When you're ready, you're going to toe tap out. Floating the leg, whisper softly up to about waist height and then tapping back out on the mat, making sure that you're keeping that toe line nice and soft. And to make the leg float up, just think of drawing up mindfully from the kneecap along the quad, the hamstring, and the glutes, using those lower abs. Then I want you to add a little knee tuck in to that movement. So you're tapping out, thinking knee, bending as if you wanted to tuck the knee in towards your belly button, and then coming back to your extended leg line and tapping the toe to the mat. Watch that there's no tension in that foot. Pushing softly off that stabilizing arm. You're going to end with the leg bent. Brush your hand down the shin, reach for the foot. Kick the foot into the hand and give me a slight tilt of your pubic bone to the 12 o'clock position so that you can feel that activation. We're going to find our way from here back into our original gate line, toe connected to the mat, and just take a gentle overhead stretch Thinking a long line from the toe, through the leg, through the ribs, through the line in the arm. And then take a seat, keeping one leg extended, the other bent, tucking the sole of the foot of the bent leg into the inseam of the other leg. Take a big breath in and then take a twist towards your extended leg, grabbing opposite hand to leg and just pulling the leg into the center line, resisting a little bit with the leg and making sure that your weight bearing is equal on both sides of the spine. Sit up as tall as you can and hold that gentle gate twist. Parivrtta Paringasana. Give me a few more breaths here. And then from here, I'd like you to find your way into a high kneeling frame on the mat. Nice and tall, more or less in the middle of the mat. Shoulders, knees, hips in one long line. You can keep the feet relaxed in parallel behind you, or you could tuck the toes under if you prefer. Take a big breath in. We're coming into a supported camel, Ustrasana. And you can place your hands maybe on the bottom and fingertips down. Gently bump your hips forward as you come into a curve, or you could give me fingertips up if you prefer as you come into your little camel line. Stay here for a few beats, thinking of keeping the elbows and the shoulder blades floating in towards the center line. And keep trying to expand through the ribs as best you can. Come back to neutral, dropping the arms long and heavy at your side. We'll find a half camel line on the left. Stepping the left leg out, a knee and the foot more or less in a straight line. Place the left palm on the inside of the left knee, draw the knee away, and then find your original camel line on the right. Hold your stretch. So you've got your fingertips softly supporting your frame on the right, either fingertips looking up towards your head or fingertips looking down, whichever feels the most intuitive for you today. Hold. Ardha Ustrasana, half camel. Ease your way back to the center line. Drop your fingertips long and lengthened, maybe nodding your chin to your chest. Take a little time out before you find the half camel line on side 2. Step out on the right palm gently pushing the right knee away, and then support your frame on the left, fingertips up or fingertips down as you try to find that slight arc through the spine, picking up to the ceiling and getting that little bit of opposition going on the left and the right side of the body. Come back to your high kneeling frame, drop the arms at your side, nod your chin towards your chest, and just pause here for a bit. We're going to step out on either side and find a wide squat line. So you can place your hands on the floor if you need to. Coming into a deep squat, Malasana, taking your feet as wide or as narrow as you need to. Bring your hands to prayer. I'm going to give you a side view and then a front view. Trying to keep the squat low if you can. If coming to a low squat is not for you, you might want to come to a midway squat, or you might want to take a block, sit on the block, and find your squat line from here. In fact, the supported low squat position would work pretty well today because we're going to try to activate that KI 6 point again. So from your squat line on the mat, you're going to try to take both hands using your middle and index finger or your thumb, and you're going to try to activate that KI 6 point again, pushing on the inside, just on the inside of the ankle bone towards the arch of your foot. And at the same time, you're going to actively push with your elbow points on the inside of your knees. So keep your Malasana active and keep pressing on that little activation point on the inside of the ankle bone. Say between the ankle bone and the arch of your foot. Keep dropping the weight down towards the floor. Hold your line. Give me a few more breaths here, and then we'll find our way from here into a narrow straddle, Upavistha Konasana. Squaring up through the feet, and your feet might be off the mat now. You're going to hold a soft forward fold with both legs extended, preferably wrapping from the inside of your ankles, and then just dropping the crown of your head heavy to the floor. Maybe gently rocking the weight back and forth between the balls and the heels of your feet, and then finding a midway point where the weight distribution feels equal, and then hold there. Keep pulling your belly button softly into center. And then let's take a gentle twist. Keeping the wrap on the inside of your left ankle, you're going to take the right hand, wrap it around the outside, and you're going to hold here. Maybe softening through the elbows and trying to draw your nose closer towards your knee. Then come back to the middle, grabbing from the inside, making the crown nice and heavy to the floor. Pausing here for a few gentle counts before you repeat that twist on the other side. So keeping the grasp on the inside on the right leg, then crossing the right arm, the left arm over the outside of the right ankle, maybe softening through both elbows, and just holding that gentle forward fold. Keeping your belly button softly pulled into center. Give me a few gentle counts here. We're going to find our way from here back to the middle, grabbing from the inside again, maybe softly pushing on that KI6 point again if you can, maybe with the mound on the inside of your thumb. Look for opportunities to keep stimulating that point today. Gently place your fingertips on the mat and find your way back into a high kneeling frame with the two knees together, the feet together. Or you can just take a nice comfortable parallel stance if you prefer. I'll give you a front view. You're going to take the first three fingers, so your index, your middle, and your ring finger, and you're going to place it just below your belly button. Once you've found that 3-finger line, you're going to press with both hands either side into the belly, the poop button, keeping your bowels nice and regular, and you're going to softly just press in on that poop button. We're going to hold it softly for maybe 30 seconds. Remember this point, we're going to play with it gently a little bit more during the class. Keep just gently pushing in to the center line. Keep your chin line soft and relaxed. Keep your whole frame nice and tall. Look for length through the spine. Make sure you're not carrying any tension in the shoulders or the collar line. From here, we're going to find our way into Frog Bekasana. Either keeping your legs in a relaxed parallel line or knees and feet together. From your poop button line, you're going to make a little fist and you're going to press gently either side of that poop button line. You're going to gently sit back into Thunderbolt. And then you're going to fold over your fisted hands, coming into frog, trying to connect your forehead to the mat. If you can't easily connect your forehead to the mat, take a scatter cushion or maybe a yoga block, place it on the floor in front of you and use it as a pillow to gently rest the crown of your head into the floor. Whether you've managed to connect your crown to the floor or your cushion, you could gently begin a little undulating motion with your fists while holding that frog line, that Bekasana. Gently stimulating the colon. Then peel up. If you did have the block underneath your head, maybe gently move it out the way. You can either keep your current orientation on the mat or you can flip sideways. I'll demo both. You're going to open up your knees as wide as you can. Maybe that means your knees come right up off the mat and we're coming into a pegged frog. So as you come off the mat, you're going to try to line up your knee and your ankle in a straight line, and you're going to drop down onto the elbows. If you've changed your orientation on the mat, which might feel more comfortable if you've got particularly sensitive knees and you need the padding of your mat, you're going to open up the knees as wide as you can. Make sure that you're not tucking the feet in towards your bum and sitting back in an almost tadpole-like fashion. So you want to splay your arches of the feet out, and you want to have your knee and your ankle in a straight line before you drop down onto the elbows. Find your position on the mat that's going to work best for you. And then drop down onto your forearms. Gently pull the weight forward, and then activate and hold the stretch by pushing your bum bones back towards your heels and trying to hold here for at least a soft count of maybe 10 to 20 seconds. If your inner thighs are really uncomfortable here, you could move dynamically, flowing softly between a four-stroke and a backstroke. Play where you're comfortable. Keep your breathing long, soft, and relaxed. If you had set yourself up sideways on the mat, you're going to flip back to your current orientation facing the front of the mat. And we're going to set ourselves up in a gentle tadpole line from here. Gently think of making your way back onto the palms, extending through the arms, maybe dragging the weight forward slightly, tucking your feet in, maybe bringing your knees back onto the mat if they were off the mat, sitting your weight back, and trying to sit in between your feet. So wiggle the knees out as much as you need to come into tadpole. Feet are softly almost wrapped around your bum as if they were cupping your bum. You're going to reach for your shin bones and just gently pull your shin bones up to the ceiling as you try to bear down through your bum bones. Think of floating the two shoulder blades and the elbows closer together along the midline of the body, while breathing as deeply as you can and trying to expand your chest laterally with each inhalation. Keep your chin line nice and soft as you find your tadpole. We're going to hold tadpole for a few more breaths, and then we're going to think of marrying our tadpole with a soft, puppy, childlike stretch. Let go of your shin bones and place your fingertips softly on the mat in front of you. Then think of gently walking down onto the forearms as if you were coming into puppy. So you're stretching the arms long and lengthened on the mat in front of you, and you're trying to drop your chest and your chin to the floor. Keep gently pulling the weight of your bum back towards your feet. Stay here. You're going to give me a few more breaths here, and then you're going to caterpillar style drag your weight forward onto the belly, bringing your legs back into a soft parallel line. You're going to take your hands, fist them, keep your position on the mat on the belly, and this time, as you find that little poop button line on your body, instead of having the knuckles looking into the center line, you're going to drop your hands so that the knuckles are looking down towards your pubis while keeping that prone position on the mat. So your fisted hand should be on the inside of your hip bones, knuckles looking down towards your pubis. You're going to softly connect your forehead to the mat and just find yourself here, gently massaging the colon. Either staying here or give me a double leg lift, softly holding and floating both legs off the mat while keeping your forehead and the rest of yourself softly connected to the mat. Maybe holding for 10 seconds if you can. Then whisper softly, floating the legs back down to the mat. Let's take it into a chest lift. Find a little marble underneath your nose. Pretend you're rolling the marble away from you. Start peeling up. Lifting the chest off the mat. Maybe in a baby cobra line with your bottom rib. Just softly, softly wanting to disconnect and just hold you. Activating a little bit more aggressively into that poop button. So we call it the P button. All right, gently just bring it back down. And now we'll try a full locust line. So we'll try to execute the leg lift and the chest lift simultaneously while keeping that knuckle position, activating into that little poop button. So simultaneously float the legs and the chest up, coming into a modified locust line. And you can either stay still or you can gently rock back and forth. So giving you a little bit of weight into the feet and then floating the feet up, a little bit more weight into the chest. But move slowly, no rushed movements. It's not an aggressive rock if you are rocking. It's a really gentle rock. And then maybe holding still in that bow-like state. Then floating back down, legs and chest, reconnecting to the mat. Just take a couple of recovery breaths here. Float the hands out. And then maybe place your palms alongside your bosom, palms down, tuck the elbows in, and just gently push back into child pose. As you come into child pose, we're going to change it up a little bit. So maybe big toes together, knees open, or you can elect to take a narrower stance so that you've got more activation into the lower viscera. So think knees and feet together as you push back into child. And then take your fisted hands and gently, palms down, push into the kidney area and just gently push down. You could also use a flat palm if you prefer, if the knuckle pressure is too much from the fisted line. And you're going to hold here for at least 10 to 15 seconds. When you're ready, you're gently going to peel up along the centered line. Maybe drop your hands, palms down on the top of your thighs. Give your blood pressure just a chance to stabilize. We're going to find our way into a seated frame for a fish hold. Maybe dropping off onto one bum bone, sweeping the legs up, repositioning yourself towards the top end of the mat. Sit up nice and tall, find staff pose, Dandasana, and then bend the elbows one at a time, leaning back and stacking elbow underneath your armpit on either side. Just find purchase here, softly pushing off your forearms and trying to grow your chest to the ceiling, and then maybe just float your fingertips underneath the very top of your bottom. Stay here, rather just pushing off your elbow points and your forearms and growing your chest towards the ceiling, maybe nodding your chin towards your chest or dropping the crown of your head softly back. If you'd like to try the next progression, drag your body weight over your hands so that your palms are more or less in the middle of your bum. Then start arcing through the spine, dropping the crown of your head, not the back of your head, the crown of your head to the floor. If your head doesn't reach the floor, maybe take a scatter cushion or a yoga block and place it underneath your head. Stay here, maybe using your elbow points for support, or if you've got the back strength and you know you can keep the integrity of the frame, you can slide your palms and your elbows off the mat Coming back to full fish, but this time I want you to find that poop button again. So take your first three fingers, place them just below your navel. That's your poop point, and I want you to gently push with your fingertips into that poop button. Hold. From here, gently find your way onto the back, maybe nodding your chin to your chest. Coming into a Shavasana-like position just for a moment or two, maybe closing your eyes, taking your focus inward. Arms are at your side, palms gently looking up to the ceiling. Big toes are looking to the corner of the mat. Just take a recovery breath or two. And then gently flutter open the eyes and simultaneously draw or hug both knees in towards your chest. And then extend the legs, drag the big toes, brace and kick into your heels. Arms are soft at your side. You're going to do that at least 5 times. Dragging the big toes in, hugging your knees off the chest, and pausing here so that it almost feels like your tailbone is peeling up off the mat. Then softly allow your tailbone to reconnect. Tap the big toes to the mat. Drag, extend, brace into the heels. Trying to make your belly as flat as you can as you come into position. Let's do that again. Give yourself at least 5 tucks of the knees in, and then a gentle extension, trying to flatten your belly as best you can. From here, we're going to find our way into Happy Baby, Ananda Balasana. So when you're ready, the next time you think of tucking the knees in, you're going to open up the legs a little bit wider. Let's say hip width distance apart, maybe even a little bit wider. Start floating the soles of your feet up to the ceiling and then reach around from the outside. Tug down on the outer quadrant of your feet, allowing your knees to become heavy towards your chest and then splaying down towards your armpit. Now, if you can, take the grasp from the inside and think of using your thumb to find that KI6 point, that kidney point on the inside of your ankle bone, let's say between your ankle bone and the arch of your foot, and you're gently going to push down. At the same time, you keep gently tugging down with your palms. Try not to rock your tailbone off the mat. So try to keep your tailbone nice and heavy into the mat, and you're going to stay here, either centered or maybe really gently, slowly, not in a rush, rocking side to side. Keep gently pushing with your thumb on that KI6 point on the inside of your ankle, whether you're rocking or whether you're holding still or whether you're moving between the rock and that stationary hold. Make sure that your chin line is soft and relaxed and that you're not holding any tension in the neck or the jaw. From here, you're going to drop the arms long and heavy at your side and draw your knees into the tabletop position. Knees and the feet together, relax your lower back, and then maybe open up the arms into a soft T, palms looking down or up, whichever works for you. We're going to work a little stomach churning twist, gently dropping the knees to one side while you look to the other. And you're going to give me at least 10 rocks side to side, progressively bringing your knees closer and closer to the floor, not rushing through it. It's not a race. It's a gentle rock side to side. Your knees tick just off center to one side while your head tucks in the other direction. You're going to end with both knees preferably on the floor to the right, and you're going to hold here for a few soft counts. If your knees don't reach the floor, use a yoga block or a scatter cushion. Tuck it underneath your knees or your thighs and support your frame. Try to keep your body weight anchored on the opposite shoulder. Make sure your head is looking in the opposite direction to your knees. Come slowly back to your midway point and begin that gentle side to side rocking motion, that stomach churning rock, moving your knees in one direction and your head in the other direction. Finding a gentle rock, not rushing through it. Starting high and then progressively dropping your knees closer and closer to the floor with each iteration. Giving yourself maybe 10 rocks. Using your breath. Inhale to transition, exhale to twist. You're going to end for me with both knees on or as close to the floor on the left as you can, and you're going to hold that stretch. Floating your head in the opposite direction, maybe using a pillow or a block underneath the knees or the thighs if you need it. If you need more of a twist, you can place your fingertips gently on that top knee or thigh and just gently apply a little bit of pressure, increasing that twist. Find your way gently back to center. Drop the soles of both feet on the floor, hip-width distance apart. Bring your hands close along the midline of the body. We're coming into a bridge hold. You can either keep your hands palms down on the mat, or once you've found the apex of your bridge, you can fist the hands behind you. Start with a neutral spine. Check that your feet and your knees are hip-width distance apart. Find neutral spine. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, start tilting your pubic bone to the 12 o'clock position. Imprint your lower back. Think of somebody pushing down on that poop point. And then gently peel up off the mat. One rib, one vertebra at a time. Coming into a bridge hold. Or maybe fisting the hands behind you. Floating the two shoulder blades even closer together. And just holding Setu Bandha bridge. Making sure that your chin is dropped softly towards your chest, whether you're working with a fisted line or whether you're giving me hands palms down into the mat. Gently, gently unbind. If you did have a fisted arm line, release that tension spot between the two shoulder blades. Relax back down into neutral spine. And then as you reconnect to the mat, extend the legs along the mat and open back up into a Shavasana-like position, allowing the big toes to reach for the corner of your mat, splaying the inner thighs out, and then find that poop button line. Use your first 3 fingers, place them below the navel, and then just below your ring finger will be the poop point. I want you to use both hands to just gently push down on that poop point while you close your eyes and take your focus inward. You're going to hold anywhere for 30 seconds to a full minute to close off your practice for today. Close your eyes Take your focus inward. And while you're gently pushing down on that pressure point, I want you to visualize the blood running from each toe towards your poop button line. Just think of everything, visualize all the toxins flowing from your toes towards the pressure point that you're gently bearing down on. Then visualize the blood in your body running from your fingertips along the length of your arm down through your heart line towards the pressure point that you're currently activating. Then visualize the blood flow from your crown through your heart towards the pressure point that you're currently activating. Think of everything converging in the lower viscera. Then softly release that pressure point. Drop the arms at your side, palms up. And give yourself a couple of soft, relaxed breaths here. Keeping your inhalations and your exhalations nice and soft. Maybe beginning to play with a 1-to-2 inhalation to exhalation ratio. So if you're inhaling for 3, doubling up on the exhale for 6. Maybe try 4-to-8 or 5-to-10 or 6-to-12, but at no stage should you be straining on the exhale. Keep your focus inwards and on your breath. Keep the eyelids super soft, so no tension in the eyelids. Keep your whole body soft, pliant, and relaxed. Stay here on your back, focusing on your breathing for as long as you need to. And when you're ready to end off your practice for today, you can just gently float your hands to Prayer Mudra in front of your heart and end off with the words Namaste. When you are ready to come out of your supine position, bend the knees, connect the soles of the feet to the mat, and maybe gently roll onto your side into a gentle fetal position, maybe using your bottom arm as a pillow. Stay here for a few soft breaths, maybe gently pushing off your other arm to just stabilize your frame. And then from your fetal position, making sure to bring your head up last, just push up gently. Find your way into a seated frame before you do come to standing. Thank you so much for coming out and joining me today. Really hope that you enjoyed today's class. Give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Shoot me your comments. Make sure your notifications are on. And be ready for Pilates on the mat tomorrow. Till then, keep it light.